Miso, she mumbled, partly conscious, shrouded in bandages and wires, surrounded by machines. As she managed to open her eyes, though still half, everything appeared to be in haze. Her head spun, and the murmurs of nurses and doctors around her felt like distant voices. In a state of panic, she tried to move her body, but a sharp wave of pain swept across her body, making her feel as if she were laying on a bed of thousand thorns. Among the anguish and confusion, Mizo's face appeared, prompting her to desperately shout out, Mizo! Breathing heavily. Mizo, please. She begged Mizo not to leave her as she saw her walk away from her. She batted her wet eyelashes slowly, wanting to see her a bit longer, afraid that this might be the last time she will be seeing her. 3 hours later, Vine's heartbeat quickened once again, making the doctors around her to move in panic. Her heartbeat wasn't normal. It was as fast as a scared person, but to be a scared person, she needed to open her eyes first. Doctors began injecting her with God knows what, and within few seconds, she opened her eyes wide. She took a long breath, as if she had been strangled for too long, and finally the grip on her throat had been lifted. Fresh tears in her eyes were indicating that those nightmares didn't left her, even in this condition. Kang Vine, can you hear me? The doctor questioned her, but she did not respond. Instead, she kept staring at the ceiling with fear evident in her eyes. She was so motionless that it was hard to believe she was breathing. Her parents and elder sister burst inside the room while doctor advised them to wait outside. But her father's one glare was enough for the doctor to give them the permission. My baby, cried while looking at Vine, who was laying like a lifeless doll. Why isn't she responding? Panicked as Vine didn't even blink. We are checking her, ma'am. Please wait for a while. Tried to make them understand. Wiped her tears and held her parents. Please, Appa, Amma, let's wait outside. Gary dragged them outside with her and doctors started checking her once again. After some time, the doctor exited Vine's room and proceeded towards her family who were waiting in the hallway. Has she responded? How is she? He asked anxiously, but still remained hopeful enough to think that his daughter survived. Took a long breath. She did not respond. It seems like she is traumatized, but it happened. She survived a accident. It's the least reaction her brain could give upon surviving that disaster. What about her injuries? She has some major injuries that will take time to heal. We will check for nerve damage after she wakes up and then provide you with a final report. Can we meet her? Her body trembled as she asked for a stranger's permission to meet her daughter. Yes, but be careful around her. Nodding desperately, the Kang family made their way into the room. After 2 hours. Massaging Vine's hand, Gary kept whispering soothing words to Vine, in hopes of getting her to look away from the ceiling for a moment and show a moment. But her cries went in vain. Vine's mother was continuously praying while her father was outside, on a call. After a while, Mr. Kang entered the room with a gloomy face and broke the news. They have held her funeral. We need to attend. But Vine? You shouldn't go, mumbled softly. Why? They will definitely blame Vine for the accident. But they haven't till now, and they did not file for FIR. And it was not Vine's fault. Mrs. car was out of control. She collided with Vine's car and was on the wrong lane. It's evident in the road CCTV camera. Doesn't matter that. They will blame Vine because she survived. And wait till time returns. Then you will witness something worse than a fire. But it's not my daughter's fault. I will not let anyone point a finger at her. Spoke in anger. Kims are not like this, Yeri. I understand they lost their daughter and no one can refute their guilt. But I'm confident that they will listen and understand. I will handle everything. Don't worry. Mr. and Mrs. Kang went to attend Mizo's funeral as Mizo lost her life on the spot of accident. Meanwhile, Vine, who had closed her eyes for a while, suddenly woke up and screamed loudly. Yari quickly called the doctor, but before they could do anything, Vine violently removed the syringe of her IV drip, making her already injured arms to bleed. She wasn't in the condition to move, yet she screamed, and with the last bit of her might, she yelled Mizo's name again. Yari ran towards her little sister and held her tenderly. Vine, please stop, cried. Mizo, where is she? Her breathing grew rapid, as if she was suffering a panic attack. I want to see her. Tell me she is alright. Looked at Yari for confirmation. Yes, she is. No, you are lying to me. Shook her head and screamed as she felt pain all over. Ma'am, please be calm. She tried to hold Vine but couldn't as Vine let her body almost fall on the other side, unconcerned about her injury. Leave her, ordered the nurse as he was afraid that Vine will hurt herself. Please, ma'am, listen. No, where is she? Tell me, Mizo, called her out while looking at the door with a desperate gaze. One week later. Her wounds were healing, but her trauma wasn't. She would still scream for Mizo the moment she opened her eyes, because somewhere she knew she won't be able to meet Mizo ever again. Mr. and Mrs. Kim visited Vine as well. Their pain was a lot, but they decided not to take any action against Vine because they knew it was not her fault. However, there was someone who came back but never visited her. But that's what everyone thought. Someone who heard his parents' decision yet wasn't satisfied. His heart bled for his sister's departure as well as his lover's condition and circumstances. But the beast within him desired something else, as he thought this was the only way for the salvation of Mizo's soul. Doctors who were doing her psychiatric treatment began to consider that they should tell her about Mizo's departure, as the more they will keep her away from the truth, the more she will lose her way back. Miss Vine, I'm going to tell you about your friend Mizo, the one you have been asking about. As soon as he uttered Mizo's name, Vine, who was unresponsive, snapped her head in his direction and stared at him with anticipation. She is no more. No! She whispers as her lips quivered and tears threatened to fall. She gave him a look of disbelief, expressed by the frown between her brows. This can't be true. Breathed out as her breaths were getting heavy. Yari held Vine's shoulder to give her support, but it only served as a straw support for a drowning man. I'm sorry. No! She shrieked in agony. Please check her once more. Just once, please. Pleaded him. She must be pretending. She must be pranking us. She always do that. Cried while trying to deny the news. She can't leave me like this. Please ask her to not to do this with me. Looked at Yari while sobbing. Only, please ask her not to leave me alone. Only I think I ended her life. She yelled manically while whimpering in Yari's embrace. She herself didn't want to live on. She didn't want to stay. She did not want to fight. Hissed Vine's forehead while her tears rained on her. 1 year later. I don't have the right, but I miss you. Talked to Mizo while looking at the dark clouds outside her window, which were representing her life. In that accident, Vine got multiple fractures and various wounds that healed over time, but two things remained damaged: her hand and her broken heart. Her hand got permanently disabled, and her heart shattered every day, blaming herself for the tragedy, for being the end of a young soul, for being the source of her family's trust and her love. Well, he didn't even visit her once, and she did not expect him to. He hates me, I know, whispered while staring out the window. She told herself sternly, yet her eyes waited for him to check on her just once, or to clarify whether he hates her or not. At this point, she was ready to face his hate too, or somewhere, she was not prepared to face him at all. Ryan, she called her gently as she entered her dark room. Hmm? Responded while still looking out the window with her blank gaze. Get ready. Some special guests are coming. To see me, to reject me again. Spoke without emotions. Yes, her family is trying their best to find someone for Ryan as they think this is the best way to bring her out of her darkness. A new life can give her new hope as she lost her old one. But people kept rejecting her even before meeting her, as no one wanted to marry a disabled girl who has also tarnished Kang's image by getting herself involved in a fatal tragedy and being the reason of someone's demise. Her parents asked her if she loved anyone, but she couldn't bring herself to utter his name, or even dare to think that he would give her the shelter of his love, when she was the one who ruined him and his family. Why would they reject you, Wine? You are the most beautiful criminal. A handicapped criminal, bitterly let out with a dry chuckle. What rubbish! Don't you dare to say it ever again, Wine. It's not true, scolded him. Does that guy knows everything, or will he throw insults on my face when I will tell him everything? Finally looked at her mother with her empty gaze. She promised her parents that she would marry whatever man they chose, as a form of self-punishment, or perhaps she hoped to see him one last time as Kim would get the invitation. He knows everything and is ready to love you with his whole heart, smiled trying to encourage her. Now get up like a good girl and freshen up. In the evening, Vine came down to meet the guest, but instead saw her parents, distressed figures sitting on the couch, and the family of their special guest leaving through the door. She approached her parents slowly and spoke. Am I rejected even before meeting them? Made fun of herself in the harshest way. Her mother instantly stood up and gently held her arms, directing her to sit next to her father on the couch. There is nothing like that. Don't worry. We rejected him because he wants to marry you. Look straight ahead with serious expression. Vine's mother gripped her shoulder to control her, knowing that the news they were about to deliver would be a catastrophic bomb in her life. Who? Who wants to marry me? Her voice cracked as Mr. Kang's serious expression showed that he had no option, and somewhere she knew who he was talking about. Pam wants to marry you, and we can't say no to him.